गौलीला प्रभु की जय, कनासपुरे प्रभु की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सात्वैकं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे
निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। बढ़ाते चलिए। Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text number 13. तथा देहांतर प्राप्ति धीरस्तत्र नमोति. Retranslation.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such change.
Okay. Now we have to come to paragraph number 3. It starts with Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained.
The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as fragmental portion.
Wait. Spirit soul, it cannot be cut into pieces. So, if the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces, the supreme soul also cannot be cut into pieces. Correct? If the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces, the supreme soul also cannot be cut into pieces. So, in this world, we find all the souls individual, different from each other. And according to Mayavadi theory, originally we all were one. So if Supreme Soul cannot be cut into pieces, then how that original one got separated into so many individuals? Understood the logic? So this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that the Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained because spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces. Because then Supreme Soul also cannot be cut into pieces. Read further.
Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleverable or changeable against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable.
Same thing I said to you already. That if soul is cut into pieces, then supreme soul will be cut into pieces. That means supreme soul will change. That is wrong principle. Supreme Lord never changes. Read further.
As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the Supreme exist eternally, Sanatan, and are called Kshara.
Wait. Shara. Yeah, read further.
That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature.
Wait. So there are unlimited living entities. They are divided in two categories. those who are in the shelter of internal potency, basically Antaranga Shakti. Another one category is Tatastha Shakti. The example which can be given is of the ocean. The water which is in the middle of the ocean always remain wet with the water, or I would say the land which is in the middle of the ocean always remains wet with the water. The land which is at the bank of the ocean is sometimes wet with water and sometimes not. So similarly, living entity which is of this category called Tatastha is sometimes in the shelter of Krishna or sometimes in the shelter of material nature. So this is a separate category of living entity which has this tendency to take shelter of material nature. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that they have tendency of Shara. Shara means it can take shelter of material nature. The land which can become dry. It is a land of ocean only, but it can become dry sometime. Similarly, living entity is Krishna's energy only, but it can take shelter of material energy sometime under the circumstances. This is called Shara. Read out them.
These fragmented portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmented.
Yes. So we all are separate individual souls. And even after liberation, we remain separate. So liberation doesn't mean merging into Supreme Lord. Liberation means serving. Liberation doesn't mean becoming one with the Supreme Lord. Liberation means becoming one with the desire of the Supreme Lord. Understood? I will repeat again. Liberation doesn't mean becoming one with the Supreme Lord. Liberation means becoming one with the desire of the Supreme Lord. Read further.
But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead.
Wait. Once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. That means we are one with the desire of the Supreme Lord. And thus Krishna is happy and will also be happy. So once liberated, this our Tatastha nature is no more there. Then we take shelter of Krishna's internal potency safely. Read further.
The theory of reflection can be applied to the supersoul, who is present in each and every individual's body and is known as the Paramatma.
Wait. Theory of reflection. Hmm. Just like when 10 parts of water are there and sun is visible, shadow of the sun is visible, or reflection of the sun is visible in all the parts. The same way, Supreme Lord is existing as Paramatma in every body. Like sun reflection is there in every part, so Lord is there in every body. Whenever we talk of comparison like this, we have to understand that these comparisons are having limitations. So just like sun is reflected in every part, so Lord is there in every body. But when the sun is reflected in the water pot, if the water is disturbed, then the image of the sun also gets disturbed. So do you think that when we get disturbed, the Paramatma in our body becomes disturbed? No. So this is the flaw in this comparison. So what I am trying to explain you is that comparison has limitations. So only within that limitation, you accept the comparison. Don't try to extend that comparison beyond its limit. So Lord within our heart doesn't get disturbed when we become disturbed. Lord remain as it is. Understood? Read further.
He is different from the individual living entity.
Wait. When the sky is reflected in the water, reflection. Okay, read further.
The stars can be compared to the living entities, and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord.
Wait. When the sky is reflected in the water, the reflections of the sun and the stars. Hmm. Okay. The analogy is written somewhere. So I don't find any explanation also.
So is it like this? Sky has sun, moon, and other stars, and the reflection, like what we are. Sun, since it's a big one, it is a representation of Lord. And the stars are comparatively smaller, so those are the Jivatma, the fragmental portions, and the reflection is here. And actually, we are coming from the Lord, where we actually were in the say Guru. Now we have come here. So it says us the stars are representing us, Jivatmas.
Yeah, but every comparison has to explain something. What concept are you explaining with this comparison?
So this is just the reflection in the material world.
Okay, agreed. That material world is just the reflection.
Yes.
But that is not the concept which is being spoken in this section. There is no talk about material world as reflection. Concept is true, but this concept is not spoken in this purport. So what I understand is this. Just like sun, moon and stars, they are reflected in the water. And we find them separate. They are separate here, and thus in the original sky they are separate. Similarly, we all are individual separate. That means in the original spiritual world also we will remain separate. This is what I'm trying to explain. Although the explanation is not given further here, but this is what it means. Because that is the talk going on here, that all the individual beings are separate, they never merge. So just like in the reflection, all the stars are separate, they are not merging. In the original sky also they are not merging. Similarly, all the individuals are separate here, and in the original spiritual world also they will remain separate, they will not merge. Alright? Read further.
The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjun, and the supreme soul is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna.
Read.
They are not on the same level as it will be apparent in the beginning of the fourth chapter.
Wait, they are not on the same level as it will be apparent in the beginning of the fourth chapter. So, what is said in the fourth chapter? In the fourth chapter, Krishna is saying that what is the first verse of the fourth?
Imam Vivasvate
Imam Vivasvate Yoga Bhaktivana Manoyam Vivaswan Manvipraha Manuriksha Kave Pranit. So Krishna is saying that I gave this knowledge earlier to Manu and Ikshvaku and Manu and Vivaswan and Ikshvaku. The sun god Vivaswan and his descendant Ikshvaku and the Manu. What Krishna is trying to explain that I have given knowledge to so many people and you forgot all that knowledge, but I always remember. So that is the difference between Supreme Lord and the living entity. That Lord always remembers everything. Common living entity forgets. Read further. If Arjuna is on the same level,
If Arjun is on the same level with Krishna and Krishna is not superior to Arjun, then the relationship with instructor and the instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy, Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other the instructed.
wait. If Krishna becomes covered by Maya, then how can he become the teacher? So it implies that Supreme Lord never becomes covered by Maya. So this is one of the theory of Mayavadis. The Supreme Lord, when he takes incarnation in this world, he becomes covered. How Lord is getting the quality of form, color, and all that quality? Because he is covered by Maya. So this is the false story of Mayavadi. When Sri Prabhupada is saying that if Lord becomes covered by Maya, how he can take the position of instructor? That is Mayavadi theory is wrong. Read further.
Such instruction would be useless because if the clutches of Maya, no one can be an authoritative instructor.
If someone is already bound, how we can release another person from bondage? This message of Bhagavad Gita is to free us from material bondage. If Lord is already bound, then how we can give the message to free us? That means Lord is not bound, and thus He is giving us the message to free us from this bondage. Read further.
Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity, Arjun, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya.
Yes. So Supreme Lord is Supreme, Krishna is Supreme Lord, and Arjuna is living entity covered by Maya, bound by Maya. Next verse. Magra Sparshastra Kampriya Shri Krishna Sukha Dukkada Agama Bhaiva Anityastam Dikshasu Bharata. Translation.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Sian of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
This verse is very important. Arjuna, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, if before this Krishna has explained the philosophy, that don't worry, the soul never dies, and the soul is going to get another body. So philosophically he has explained, but still we feel pain. Philosophical logic is sometimes not sufficient to free us from pain. Because is also there. So Krishna is saying, but that for something good, tolerate something. For example, we ask children to study. Children like to play. But we say, not to study, it will be good for you. But they feel, say this, but they say that you are talking about good in future. Right now I'm feeling pain. I'm not able to play. So what we have to say, tolerate this pain for better future. Tolerate this pain for better future. So same thing Krishna is saying, tolerate this pain for better future. They will get good body. If they die, they will get good body. If they don't die, your relationship will remain as it is. So tolerate the pain for good future. So Krishna is giving the comparison how we have to tolerate. Two things Krishna is saying. First point, Krishna is saying, just like we tolerate the seasons, like that we should tolerate. Everyone tolerates the seasons. And second thing Krishna is saying, that this tolerance will not be there forever. Seasons go, another season comes. Similarly, the pain will go. So tolerate it, it will go. So it is not permanent. All these situations of life, painful situations of life, they are not permanent, like seasons are not permanent. So tolerate it. So these are the 2 points Krishna is saying. That these painful situations are not permanent. Second thing, you have no other way out to escape this painful situation except tolerance. You can make some arrangement, but your arrangement will not be very much successful. Whatever pain you are destined, it's going to come. Tolerate it. What people do when painful situation comes, people react as per their moods. Tell me, you You tell me. If someone is mode of ignorance, how he will react in painful situation? If someone is in mode of passion, how he will react? And if someone is in goodness, how he will react? Tell me, from your understanding. What do you think? Ignorant person, how he will respond to the painful situation? Answer.
Yeah, when a person is in the mood of goodness, suppose
No ignorance, first ignorance.
the ignorant person will first of all blame somebody else except him.
Yes,
He'll either blame the situation or the person, somebody else, and instead of facing the situation, he'll make it worse.
how?
He'll get agitated, and
Yes,
he may commit some other mistakes which
yes,
will make the situation worse.
good, good. 2 points. He will blame others. He will not only blame others, he will trouble others. I got this suffering, you will get double this, triple this, like that. Blame others, cause trouble to others, and he will make his own situation much worse. He will drink, he will fight with his family members, he will break something, like that. He will murder someone. This is all response in mode of ignorance. Tell me how a person in mode of passion will respond when painful situation comes.
Person who is in the mode of passion will first he will try to settle that situation by somehow adjusting it. Like instead of tolerating it, we'll try to make some other adjustments. I mean, for example, if somebody is not very wise and he doesn't get admission in a good college, so we'll try to pay bribe. Okay, so we'll try to somehow manage that situation. Or if he's caught by police for committing some mistake, then instead of making himself right, he'll try to bribe the policeman and try to settle so that he will not rectify the mistake, but he'll try to cover up that mistake.
Yes, yes. Good answer. So, mode of passion person will try to escape by some material arrangement. He will not tolerate, he will escape. Mode of ignorance person destroys. I am suffering. He, he, his response is in the mode of destruction. Mode of passion person escapes. And mode of goodness person, this is easy.
He will first of all understand that this situation is because of his past karma. So he will, instead of blaming somebody else, he will blame himself, and by his devotional practice, he will surrender to the God and face the situation so that he will not have in future at least
Just
he
a
will not
minute,
have.
just a minute. Don't include God because that comes higher level mode of transcendence. Mode of goodness person will simply accept that this is simply reaction of my own karma, and he will tolerate it. He will also do some adjustment, but not with a hope that he can escape it. I will try, but he will not do the escape by sinful means, giving bribe. Okay, some other thing. He will not do that by honest means. He will try to do some measures. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, tolerate it. Now tell me how devotee will respond to painful situation.
Devotee will first of all consider that this is actually Lord's mercy. That
Yes.
actually our
Just a minute. Goodness person thinks this is reaction of my
karma,
devotee thinks this is.
Lord's mercy.
What is the difference? One is thinking reaction of my karma, another is thinking this is Lord's mercy. What is the difference? Tell me.
Maybe some his bad is expected to happen further. Lord has saved with us with this little situation.
Say it again.
Something bad has to happen for us, which is further ahead, but we are saved with this small little, say maybe an accident, which we are saved with us. We fall down on the road, and we don't go to that next point where a truck must be expected to hit us.
Understood. So you are saying that this is Lord's mercy in the sense that I got very little punishment compared to what I was supposed to get. Goodness person is thinking, I did something, I got equal to that. Devotee is thinking, I got very little. This answer is good. Something more. What is the difference? Devotee is thinking Lord's mercy. Common person thinks my karma. Lord's mercy is to reform our heart. See, punishment never reforms anyone unless he is educated. Punishment never reforms anyone unless he is educated. Someone commit murder, you imprison him for 20 years. But if he is not educated, he will not understand. You understand? By imprisoning, he only understands this much, that because I murdered someone, so I got this painful situation. But his heart is not purified. What is purification of heart? It means our heart develops good devotional qualities like being tolerant, being merciful, being compassionate, being helpful. These qualities a prisoner doesn't develop even by 20 years of imprisonment. Just because someone is imprisoned for 20 years, do you think that he will become compassionate to people after that? It never happens. Just because he is imprisoned for 20 years, do you think that he will become helpful to the mankind? It never happens. Just because he's in prison for 20 years, do you think that he will start living his life very clean after that? These qualities do not come by punishment. These qualities come only by education, guidance. So Lord's mercy helps us to purify our heart, to develop these qualities. So whatever Lord is giving us through that, He is trying to purify our heart. So it is different than punishment. So that way it is Lord's mercy. Understood why it is Lord's mercy? Okay. So devotee accepts the painful situation in his life as Lord's mercy. Okay. Yes. It's good. So you understood all the four levels of responses: mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness, and transcendence. Now tell me, which mode of response Krishna is suggesting here to Arjuna? Which mode of response Krishna is suggesting here to Arjuna in this verse? Very easy. Yes, goodness. Krishna is only asking to tolerate. 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 Do the needful within scriptural injunction. Isn't it? Tolerate. That's all. it because anyway it is not permanent. And second, there is no other alternative solution. You can do some adjustment, but whatever is in your destiny is going to come. So tolerate it. So so a person in goodness, in spite of miserable situation, painful situation, he performs his duty as per scriptures. And devotee, in spite of painful, miserable situation, he performs his devotional service. But mode of passion person, he anyway refrains from his duty. Just like Thanks. If, let's say, more of patient people are always very calculative. If the calculation is in their favor, they will do the duty. If calculation is not in their favor, they will not do their duty. So painful situation means calculation is not in their favor. Isn't it? Just like a person is invited to some, let's say, temple. So passionate person will think, what I will get here. He will not come. Like that. So we have to respond in devotion, not just in goodness, devotion. If we had devotion consciousness, then to tolerate it much easier. Imagine painful situation is there and you are tolerating it. Another consideration is painful situation is there, but you are thinking that you got very little and you are still absorbed in Lord's service and glorifying the Supreme Lord. That is much better. Lord offers us a higher spiritual taste even in that painful situation. Thus, we should accept the miserable situation in devotional consciousness, not just in goodness. Third point Krishna is saying here is the painful situations in our life are coming because of sense perception. Sense perception means bodily perception. Senses are in the body. We see through the eyes, we hear through the ears, we touch through the skin. This is called sense perception. Senses are in the body, thus it is bodily perception. So perception which is observed through the body. For example, I am seeing something now and I wear a black color spect and then I see something. So my earlier observation was perception through the eyes. After wearing black specs, my vision is perception through the black specs. So similarly, right now our perception is through the body. So Krishna is saying all the painful situations in this world are because of bodily perception. That means at the spiritual level there is no pain. It's only at the bodily perception. So if you want to be free from pain, just get rid of the bodily perception. It is not so easy. I want to be free from bodily perception. But no, you are bound very strongly. Just like a prisoner in the jail, if he says, I want to be free. Can he become free? No, he is bound with the chains. Similarly, we are bound with the material body made up of three modes. We cannot become free easily. So what to do if prisoner want to be free from the jail? Just carry on his terms of imprisonment properly, following all the laws and codes of the jail. Be a good prisoner. Be a very good prisoner. Attract the mercy of the jailer. Then gradually you will be freed. Isn't it? Similarly, this material bondage is not very easy to remove. Be a good human being. A good human being is a devotee. Be a good devotee. Continue your devotion practice well. Attract Lord's mercy, devotees' mercy. And by their mercy, you will be free from this bondage. Okay, it cannot happen immediately. Of course, as per the principle, it can immediately, as per the principle. Just be Krishna conscious, isn't it? But it is not so easy to be Krishna conscious. We are so strongly bound by this material bondage that we cannot be easily Krishna conscious. So strongly we are bound by the material bondage. So continue practice. Material bondage is there. See, a just like you are going in a car and something wrong has happened with the car. So car is not moving properly, but it is going. But it's not moving properly. So the passenger inside the car becomes inconvenienced, isn't it? Let's say car is going very slowly because of some engine problem. So passenger in the car becomes inconvenienced. Nothing has happened to the passenger, but he becomes inconvenienced because of the bad car. Similarly, soul in the body becomes inconvenienced when the body doesn't function properly. Soul becomes inconvenienced. Nothing has happened to the soul, but soul becomes inconvenienced. So even a devotee like Srila Prabhupada, he also felt inconvenience because of the body conditions. He also was old. He also become sick. So he become inconvenienced. So there is a difference between thinking that there is difference between a materialistic person and a devotee person undergoing the pain. Materialistic person thinks that I am suffering. Devotee thinks that this body is causing lot of disturbances in my devotional service. So outlook is Krishna conscious for devotee, and outlook is self-conscious for the materialistic person. So the painful situation in this world is only because of bodily perception. And we cannot escape this bodily perception immediately. We have to undergo it. Only by Krishna's grace can we be freed from it. So, Vaikuntha means without any kuntha, without any trouble. So it is said Srila Prabhupada is in Vaikuntha, but he is undergoing the trouble. So how is in Vaikuntha? So answer which is given is this, which we should accept for us also. That misery which he is getting, he is accepting it as Lord's mercy. For some service. Lord wanted some service. And thus he has given this situation to him. Like that. So he is accepting it as Lord's mercy to serve him. So it is Vaikuntha. That means just whatever Lord wants. If Lord wants to give misery, that is also acceptable. And he doesn't, because it is Lord's mercy, so he doesn't perceive it as pain. He perceives it as Lord's mercy. Another example I will give. A tiger sees a child and a mother sees the child. Both are seeing the same object, but their perceptions are different. Tiger is seeing as flesh to eat. Mother is seeing as the object of love. Different perception for the same situation. Similarly, devotee sees misery with love. Materialistic person sees misery as pain. Understood? Same situation. But devotee is experiencing love for the Lord. Materialistic person is experiencing pain in the same situation. So, how to change perception from tiger to mother? How to change perception from materialistic person to devotee? It is not easy. We should try from our side by hearing, by practicing sadhana bhakti. Chant holy names, hear Krishna Katha, and do some service to Lord and devotees. Do sadhana bhakti. And try to invite this consciousness as we hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, as we hear about assisted by this consciousness, that this is Lord's mercy. It is not easy when someone is undergoing pain and seeing it as loving thing, feeling the loving relationship with the Lord, it is not so easy. See, for us, love with the Lord is superficial, very much superficial. We don't have so much love for the Lord. We have love only for the material objects. But we want to aspire for the love for the Lord. So, whatever is our condition, consciousness, because I don't have love for the Lord at this stage, I am not able to perceive misery with the consciousness of love. When the misery comes, how I perceive it. Mostly, we devotees perceive misery as a trouble because of the body. And we also accept it as Lord's mercy. Because with the understanding that He has given very little, and this is meant to purify my heart. This much consciousness is there. But the consciousness of love is not there. It is not there. Because in the normal situation also that consciousness of love is not there. We definitely rise up early in the morning to take darshan of the Lord. Not out of love. Imagine early in the morning, a news is there in the newspaper. At 4 o'clock in the early morning, this jewelry shop is going to offer everything for free from 4 to 4:30. Imagine the consciousness there. How much attachment you have to get the gold jewelries. Do we have the same consciousness to see the Lord? Not so much. So what I'm trying to say is in normal situation also we don't have that much love for the Lord. I'll give another example. Let's say your child comes late at home. How much you become disturbed? Darshan opens late. Does it disturb us so much? It doesn't, it doesn't disturb us so much. So we don't have so much love for the Lord, but we are aspiring for the love of the Lord. So whatever consciousness in the normal situation, same consciousness we perceive misery also. So I very clearly explained how we are able to perceive the misery in our life and where we should go for. And by Krishna's grace it can happen that we accept misery also with love. Misery also with love, like a reward. Accept misery as a reward in your life. That is the consciousness of a perfected devotee. That he accepts misery as a reward in his life. And we can pray to Lord for that. That we are able to accept misery as a reward in our life. Any clarification of the subject? This is very important subject matter. That we are able to perceive the miseries in our life with right consciousness. People take shelter of Lord, most of the people take shelter of the Lord only because of misery. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Artho Jigyasu Artharte Jnani. These four category of people come to Lord, and majority people are distressed people, troubled people. So when they come to Lord, their consciousness is that Lord will free me from misery. That is their consciousness. But gradually, this consciousness should elevate, and the consciousness should come that miseries are going to come and it will go away. Tolerate it. Simply serve Lord, and gradually further higher consciousness will come. That accept misery as Lord's mercy, and further higher consciousness will come. That accept misery as Lord's reward. See misery with the consciousness of love. It is very high consciousness. And how to acquire that high consciousness? Continue practicing sadhana bhakti. By Krishna's grace, it will come. That you will be able to see misery with loving consciousness. With love, you will see misery. Prahlad Maharaj was like that. So much trouble came in the Prahlad's life. Every time he was troubled, he was simply perceiving Lord, it is Lord's mercy. Lord wants to give me this. I think I never spoke to you about it. One time, mother called Prahlad. Kayapur. She called Prahlad and said to him, why don't you listen to your father? Prahlad said to her, whatever my father says, everything I am doing. He asked me to jump from the high mountain, I jumped it. He asked me to remain in the midst of the serpent, I did it. He asked me to sit inside the fire, I did it. Whatever he says, I do it. Only one thing I am not able to do it. He is asking me not to remember Lord. How can it happen that I do not remember Lord? That Lord who has given me my father Hiranyakashipu, by whose grace I got my father, how can I not remember him? If I remember my father, I will remember my God. Because my father is given to me by my God. So only that principle I am not able to follow. Rest everything I am following. So he never saw it as punishment. Prahlad never saw it as punishment. Prahlad always saw it as Lord's mercy. Prahlad always saw it as his father's desire, not as punishment. This is Prahlad's consciousness. So, this can happen only when you have so much love for Supreme Lord. And when you have so much love for the Supreme Lord, you will have so much love for all the living entities. And because Prahlad has so much love for Krishna, so he has love for Hiranyakashipu also. And does whatever Hiranyakashipu was saying, he was doing it. This is Prahlad's consciousness. Consciousness of love. And this consciousness can come by the practice of sadhana bhakti. So I will stop here with the prayer that we all should rise in this consciousness. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And thank you for tolerating me when I speak in this bad way. Hare Krishna.
We are thankful.
Hare Krishna.
This situation also you explained this so nicely.
I think it was Lord's mercy to speak me on this topic by putting me in this situation. When you are in the situation and speak about it, then only you can speak properly. Otherwise, it becomes superficial, isn't it? Hadesha.